and Alice, and today we're going to make my favorite stadium jacket. It is actually a quilted jacket from LaRae Designs. I will link the pattern in the show notes so that you can find it, download it, and make it yourself. If you're a big football fan like I am from Ohio, and therefore I will be an Ohio State fan until I die. So there is this time of year. It's usually in like mid to late October when you want a light jacket to bring with you because you never know how cold it's going to get. The weather can be a bit unpredictable. And I find that this quilted jacket style is the perfect jacket to take with you. I've actually made this one in an Ohio State print that I designed myself. It is available in the Spoonflower shop, linked below. But regardless of what team you are rooting for, I think that you'll find that this is the perfect stadium jacket unless you're rooting for Michigan. In that case, you're not allowed to use this tutorial, so just turn it off now.
All right, so first we have to quilt our fabric together. Choose your exterior, your batting, and your interior fabric, and you're just going to sandwich them all together, pin them together, and quilt them in straight lines, big enough to cut out your fabric pieces on these quilted pieces. Then you're going to either create bias tape, this is my bias tape maker, or buy some bias tape for the binding. I actually bought gray for the interior and created this custom tape for the exterior. And you can see here that I have quilted my fabric together in big, massive pieces so that I could cut my jacket pieces out. I actually add a little bit of length to the jacket. I don't like how short it is, so I added about 7 inches, and then I added 3 inches to each of the sleeves. Here you can see my sleeves cut out, and now I'm going to take the 2 front pieces and sew across the top, and then add my bias tape sewing to hide that seam. You can see here the finished product, bias tape on the seam with the 2 front pieces together. Then I'm going to take the back piece and attach it to the front piece like so. You want the sides to line up right here, and then you want the curved edge to line up with the back. Go ahead and pin it all together, making sure that the corners hit at the right places, and sew it together and cover up with your bias tape. You can see how the jacket's starting to look with my bias tape on the inside in a contrast color. And now it's time to attach the sleeves. So what we're going to do is go ahead and pin the sleeves in place. Make sure you've got the right sides together, wrong sides together. So go ahead and pin right side to right side, starting in the middle so that you get it pinned nice and tight in the right spot. Cover it with bias tape as I've done here, and sew the inside of the jacket together. So sew the inside seam. You can see that I have covered it in bias tape as well, and now I'm sewing the edge. So sew the edge of your sleeve. You might want to try it on to make sure they're long enough first, and I used my special bias tape for this. Then what you're going to do is sew bias tape to cover up the entire inside. So the inside of the jacket and the bottom of the jacket need to all be covered in bias tape. If you want toggle buttons, now is the time to add them. You can also add straps or ties, but I've decided to add little loops and toggle buttons. So what I do here is cut short pieces of bias tape, sew them together, and then I measure out where I want my loops to be. Go ahead and pin those on before you sew your bias tape on the raw edge so that they're in place and you know where you want all of them. You can see here that I've sewn one side of my bias tape and I've sewn all of the little loops in place. And I'm going to fold it and sew the other side of the bias tape to cover the raw edge. Here's the finished product. Now I'm going to add my pockets, so I went ahead and finished off the little squares for the pockets, adding the bias tape to the edge, and now I am measuring the distance to make sure that they're not all wonky, so that I've got 2 pockets and sewing around the outside, leaving the top open, of course, so that it's a pocket. And I go ahead and measure where I want my toggle buttons. Hardest decision ever, black, brown, or cream. And here is my finished jacket.